No doubt about it, it would be a giant blow if Vic Fangio was to retire. Who would take his place? Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Kick Dingbat here, and so Sunday morning, everybody woke up to the reality that Vic Fangio has contemplated retirement. That is right. And if Vic Fangio was to retire this all season, it would be a giant blow to the Philadelphia Eagles. The truth of the matter is this: the Eagles can't afford to have Vic Fangio retire this all season. They got too many new coaches on offense, and they need the stability of him on defense. But what is going to happen is going to happen, and nobody can do nothing about it except Vic Fangio. Now, we're going to talk about that in a second, but one thing I thought was interesting, and I wanted to throw my 2 cents in real quick, but as you guys may know, the NFL has confirmed there's going to be up to 8 international games this year, right? John McMullen wrote this: the NFL's up to 8 confirmed international games for 2026. Melbourne, Australia will be one of them. This would be, he says, this would make the most sense for the Eagles because Jordan Mailata. However, it's going to be a Rams home game, so we will not be playing the Rams in LA or on the road this year. So that's out. We could play in Germany. We could play in Madrid, Spain. We could play, let's see, Paris, France confirmed there's a Saints home game and Eagles aren't playing. So we can't play in France. And then UK has 3, and that's a possibility for the Eagles. I want to say this: I hate international games. I absolutely hate it, okay? Now, they just went to Brazil. That wasn't as bad as some other places, but they're not going to go back to Brazil this quick. So, England, Spain, or Germany is possible. We'll have to wait for the schedule to come out. I hope they don't play international games. I hate it. But I wanted to bring it up because it is a possibility. I say, send the Tampa Bay Buccaneers there. Who cares? Send anybody there. All right. Now, as far as the Eagles go and what's going on for the Eagles, yesterday there was a story that came out by Jim Kempski. Said, sources, Eagles considered Jim Schwartz and Jonathan Gannon for defensive coordinator job after Vic Fangio retirement scare. And if you go on to read the article, you find out that when the season ended, Vic Fangio kind of went to the Eagles saying, he thinks he's going to retire. The Eagles kind of talked to him, and it's leaning towards, as of right now, and people aren't saying this, everybody's just running with it, that it's like 50-50, but as of right now, it looks like Vic Fangio is going to be staying. Somebody said, and I can't confirm this, but somebody said that he was asked about this golfing somewhere, and he said, he's coming back. But it is leaning towards Vic Fangio returning. That's the way it's going to look. However, it's never 100%, at least not right now. And here's the thing. Fangio almost retired last offseason. He almost retired, then he decided to come back. So if Fangio comes back this year, which we think is going to be the most likely scenario, it looks like he's going to come back. The Eagles got about 1 year, all right? They got about 1 year, and they're going to have to replace their defensive coordinator. That gives us time, but you have to start looking at it like, yes, they are going to go out and have to replace Vic Fangio probably next year. And here, and we talked about this with Christian Parker. Christian Parker, I said, my view was pay him more money, tell him he's in line for the defensive coordinator spot, and try to keep him. Now, that doesn't mean the Eagles didn't try it, and it doesn't mean that Christian Parker would have accepted that. It's kind of hard. And when we learn more about Christian Parker, we actually learn that he wants to be a head coach. And that's what he's looking towards. And he is such a highly touted guy that a lot of people think he's going to get a head coaching job after one season as a defensive coordinator. So it really may not have worked out anyways. One of the guys that talked about in the article was Jonathan Gannon. The Eagles actually reached out to Jonathan Mother-Humping Gannon. Do you believe it, that mother-humper? Fortunately, he went to the Packers. Packers named Jonathan Gannon their defensive coordinator. But despite what he did to the Eagles kind of screwed them, the Eagles weren't that upset maybe as fans were, as bad as fans were about him and the way he left. They were going to bring him back. Now, if you bring him back, you don't have to change a lot with your scheme and certain things like that, because he likes to run hybrids, right? He likes to run 5-2s, 3-4s. He'll mix it up, so it's not that big or dramatic of a change. Now, Jim Schwartz is a guy that's name is out there, that if Vic Fangio was to retire this offseason, they may look at Jim Schwartz and try to bring him back. Me personally, I think Jim Schwartz is fine. He would be a fine replacement. The only issue that I really see, and I'm not big on his style either, but at least he gets pressure on the quarterback. I give him that. So does Jonathan Gannon, for that matter. But the thing with Schwartz is you kind of got to change your whole defense around. It would be a lot of changing things. I really don't want to change things that much. I would like to see them blitz more, but I don't really want to change the scheme that much. I think they're set up pretty good defensively. So that would be a downside with Schwartz. A guy like McDermott is out there. I guess he's a possibility, somebody you could bring back. I don't know if the Eagles would. He's another guy that you probably have to change a lot of things for on defense. So in a weird way, as much as I hate Jonathan Gannon, and I'm not a fan of Gannon, he would be. He might have been the easier guy to deal with. Mike Garofalo wrote this with the whole situation. As Jim Kempski reports here, Vic Fangio return has been uncertain and sort of still is, sort of. It's been leaning to the positive recently, but could change again. The Eagles haven't confirmed or denied anything in this report, or to this point. So basically, it sounds like Vic is coming back at least one more year, probably one more year, and then he's going to go. But it's not finalized, so there's still that chance. And I think it would be a big blow. Not impossible to overcome, but I just think it's a lot to deal with, because you're dealing with a young offensive coordinator, a new offensive coordinator, okay? And the Eagles haven't had a lot of success with young offensive coordinators. And now if you're going to give Nick Sirianni a young offensive coordinator and possibly now you got to have a new defensive coordinator, it's a lot. If you could have the stability of Vic Fangio one more year, I think that would be the best case scenario. Now, I'm expecting one more year of Vic and then to have to replace him this all season. Now, we're going to hear the names Gannon and Schwartz and McDermott and all these other names. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you what I think. Clint Hurtt is my guy. Okay, I talked about Christian Parker and Clint Hurtt and how those two guys are guys that I want to retain and possibly give a defensive coordinator spot. I think that the development of Jalen Carter, Ojomo, what we saw Milton Williams a couple years ago, what we saw with Jordan Davis, I think a lot of it had to do with Clint Hurtt. Now, he was a defensive coordinator with the Seattle Seahawks, but he knows Vic Fangio's system well. You wouldn't have to change a lot, and I think he's a good young coach. And I would go out, and this is just me at this point right now, if Vic Fangio was retired, whether it was, let's say if he was retired next year, I'm going with Clint Hurtt as my defensive coordinator most likely at this point. Secondly, if Fangio was retired this year, I probably still would go Clint Hurtt, but I would definitely probably reach out to Jim Schwartz as well. I don't think Jim Schwartz is bad at all, but it's just you got to change a lot with what he does. And I would definitely get Schwartz. I'm going after Myles Garrett in the offseason, but that's a whole nother topic, right? But in all seriousness, this is a scare right now that we don't need. Right, and I think it's going to work out. I think Fangio will be back, but we're going to have to replace him next year. And to be honest with you, right now, as we sit here right now doing this video, Clint Hurtt is my guy. He's the guy I think I would promote to defensive coordinator. He's had experience with it. Maybe it wasn't the most successful with Seattle, but I don't think at the time he was a defensive coordinator that they didn't have the talent defensively we got now. All right, they loaded up that defense and they've made great changes to get to where they were. But I think Clint Hurtt's got a stacked defense. I think he's good with the defensive line, and I would sit there and I would make him my defensive coordinator. That would be my choice as of right now. But he's a guy that you have to watch too, because in a nightmare scenario, Vic Fangio comes in tomorrow and says, "Oh, I'm going to retire," and makes it official, and he retires, and then Miami hires. I don't think they've hired a defensive coordinator, but they just interviewed Clint Hurtt for that defensive coordinator spot. He's going to get another chance at being a coordinator as well. Him and Christian Parker are hot names. Hell, even Bobby King is a hot name. But I that would be my choice if Fangio was to go. I would take my chances on Clint Hurtt, especially if it's next year. Now, if it's this year, I could understand you want to go with somebody with experience and stability, especially with what you got going on offensively. But if it's next year, no, my favorite would be Clint Hurtt. This is something we're going to have to watch. It's going to be very, very interesting. And we will be back to live streams in the morning, probably starting, I want to say probably Wednesday, maybe tomorrow, depending upon my schedule and what's going on. But look for those to resume. I've kind of missed doing live streams. We didn't do any this week. I feel like I've been missing out all week, so I want to get those up and running. With that said, take care. I will talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat, and remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. Do you guys see Mark Holmes? He runs to do these videos. The Eagles are destroyed. The Eagles are in chaos. The Eagles are this. The Eagles are that. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Since I got to know Mark Holmes, I knew he was around the end of 2016 when he was doing videos. But let me tell you this, right? As I got to know him in 2017, 2018, he's been saying the same shit every year about the Eagles. Oh, the salary cap's going to come back and haunt them. Oh, the Eagles they're on the verge of total collapse and chaos. Yet, we've been in 3 Super Bowls since I've known Mark Holmes. We've won 1. Unfortunately, we lost 2, but we won the last one. And we're really not that far off talent-wise to going back if we do the right things this whole season. Don't buy his panic. Don't buy his bullcrap. He's making excuses because Dallas still stinks. Denzel Washington out. That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.